Hey everyone, we've gone ahead and made our way to Rocktopia, and I really like the tree harvesting area on Rocktopia, and it's a really good thing to backfill some of our looter skills and whatnot. So almost every time we come here, I try to get around in. My favorite spot is in hell in the very bottom. You can see where that little V is there. This is kind of where it starts, and it'll swath this entire region, all that whole alcove, and then across the way. And so we'll get started and we'll see how far we get. Normally we're able to make it over into that other alcove while we collect the boards. Sometimes we get overburdened really quickly though because of the weight. But the things we're trying to collect here are things like the zoology. Um, you have to pet tame or tree harvest, or I think there's maybe a daily quest on Cyrene I've heard of. I haven't done it, I haven't found it, but someone had mentioned it. But it was like a pet taming mission to get extra zoology, I think is what they had said. And so you're not going to work that up hunting. And so if you want to have that part of your looter levels backfilled in, you're going to have to pick a secondary activity. Um, I like the tree cutting because I like to sometimes run the boards for see what we can pop texture wise. I'm hoping there's some textures that are not discovered on Cyrene yet, or that are pretty rare. It would be nice to track some of them down maybe. We're getting some analysis here, and that's great for all three of the polluter professions utilize analysis. I want to say around 10%. Um, so it's again, a great skill to have up. I think the only other way to get analysis is to scan. There's like two or three ways for most skills. And so there's probably another way I'm not aware of. But scanning is also how you can work up your zoology, but it's extremely slow. The genetics we're getting here is good for the mutant looter. It's kind of like the anatomy of mutant looting. Well, I think mutant looting uses anatomy, so it's not really the anatomy. I'd have to look at the list to see what skill it kind of replaces. This guy was out here mining. It looked like. The resource gathering doesn't really do much for us. It boosts the profession up, but there are no unlocks attached to the profession. I still like to see it go up. It adds to our total skill count and some other little stuff like that. Maybe it's basically just an ego thing where like I enjoy seeing my character level up, even if it's something trivial or something I won't really use much. I still enjoy that little pop-up box that lets me know we've leveled up. Dexterity is another looter skill, but you get that one from firing guns and utilizing tools and whatnot. It's also one of the codex rewards, like round 1 and 2 is Dex, I think, as an option, and round 3 and 4 is Perception. And so it allows you to really work up your those two skills in your looter profession from doing the codex. The other ones are slightly more difficult to work up. Thus, we're out here cutting all these trees down. And occasionally we'll find fruit or stones out here. And if that guy hadn't just mined this area, we would drop a probe or two just to see kind of what we will get. I've hit stuff with the near these vampires on multiple occasions, honestly. Was it good stuff? Probably not. I don't really remember. One time it was oil, so no. But minus I really needed the oil in my vehicle, so it worked out well for me that time. And I saved these skill pills just for the tree hunting, just because it's such a long process and the skills are kind of slow to roll in, especially after you've been doing it for a little bit. There's some athletics. That's a little side perk skill we're going to get a little bit while we're doing this. It helps to boost up your evader level a little bit, which helps you to not get hit quite so much. Helps you dodge a few more attacks. I've heard people claim it helps you run a little faster, but I don't know that I believe that. But again, the looter professions are really slow to work up, especially because we're only working the peripheral skills with this. I mean, each skill that we're working is literally 10% or less on the overall going into the profession, right? Where most of it's going to be skinning, and then it's going to be 10% is going to be, I think, a couple of hidden skills, and then there'll be that analysis, and then everything else is like 7% or less, I think. But it is still important to backfill your skills, and it helps you work your intelligence up a little bit since we're using tools here. Oh, I almost forgot. We'll get a little bit of geology, which is going to help us with our mining. And so tree cutting is a nice way to kind of build in to a few different professions. There's a little bit of perception, there's a little bit of more analysis. Oh, there it is. There's some biology. That's also a looting skill, I think. 3, 4% maybe. Maybe 5. Anyway, low percentages on all these. But again, all of them go in to the profession to getting you a little bit more loot per kill. At least according to MindArc, that's how it works. So that's their official statement. And so we all know everyone has their own theory on how exactly things work and everything. But when they come out with an official statement, I tend to believe that they are going to be truthful about how their game works when they come out with an official, nah, this is how this actually does. I'm, I'm prone to believe them in that regard. And they've directly stated more loot for people with higher looting professions. It's a really small amount. It's like 0.07% per level or something like that. So the botany doesn't really go into anything we use, but it helps us to build up our gardener skill. And it's kind of nice to be a gardener. It doesn't do anything for us. I don't think they've really expanded that system. Like they started to put it in place, and then it kind of seemed to have fallen apart a little bit. And so it's nice we're building it up. If they ever put it in place and it's worth pursuing later, we already have our foundation set. Oh, there's our first tool down. So I'm using these tools I brought from Cyrene because they are quicker, like a lot quicker. So we'll go ahead and pin this up here real fast so I can kind of show you guys. See the uses? 22, 33. That makes this tool 50% faster, which in theory should equate to 50% more skill gains because we'll be able to break more tools um, per time. And so I think before we were doing like 3, 4 tools an hour on a good run. And I think now we're up in the 5 to 6 with these. I don't think we quite hit 6. I think we get in the 4.5, 5.5 zone. I think it's been our average in the past. It kind of depends on how dense the trees are. They seem a little spread out today, meaning someone's probably likely been through here, I don't know, an hour ago or something. They take a second to respawn. And now we're going to get up here where we're going to have to start avoiding those vampires because I'm not trying to kill them. I mean, we could probably take one, but that's not the goal today. Well, it looks like we ran by one. We'll go back and grab that one real fast. Or it's respawned after we had passed through. And especially when you start, it's really nice. The green skill gains just like churn in. And each of the tools is only 5 ped, and you get a fair portion back. I don't want to say 90% when you first start, but probably a solid 80-ish. And later on, you start averaging that 90% returns pretty quickly. At least that's been my experience. We usually get about 90% back on any given tree run. every now and again we get unlucky and it's, you know, 85-ish%. And occasionally we'll get lucky and we'll break even. And the small trees take about 30 seconds to disappear. The large and huge trees have more of a random timer, it seems. And so, yeah, they're starting to respawn, I think. That's nice. That'll give us a lot of trees to cut down. Let those skills keep rolling in. Oh, so I'm wearing the funky hat for the reload. I'll pull it up. So 5% reload because I don't have a Aries ring or a reload ring. I actually have the life ring and then the evader ring. Let's see what they're actually called. It's the Aglic, which is the health ring, and then the Athenic, which is the dodgy ring. Let's head up in here. We want to circle around those vampires because there's usually trees in the back behind them. And we have a long way to go for our next unlock on the looting profession. I think it's unlocks are at 30 and then 60. That was like an invisible tree there. Didn't want to let me through. But it's nice because it's going to work up our animal looter a little bit and our mutant looter a little bit for when we do the Tolan events or do the zombie hunting here on Rocktopia. There's not a ton of mutants, but there are a few. Yeah, no, we're just gonna, like I said, Anytime we're on Rocktopia or Cyrene, I try to get a round of tree cutting in, just because the tree cutting areas are so nice, and the skills are really kind of difficult to work up otherwise. Tolan has a okay tree zone. It's just kind of small, like the rest of Tolan. And so it's probably number 3 on tree cutting now. Although I hear Next Island and Arcadia have some pretty good tree cutting spots, but I've never actually done tree cutting on either one of them. I'm gonna go ahead and switch to the level 3 tool for a second, just because of this huge tree. I like to collect the large boards, and we'll warp them to utilize them somewhere. Oh, those trees usually collapse pretty quickly. That's why there was always high markup on those boards. I don't know what it is right now. It drops tenfold, and so I've seen it down 150% now. In the beginning, it was over 1,000% markup for them. But I also think that was probably only when Calypso was the only place with trees, and Calypso is kind of not very friendly to the tree harvester. It's a lot of areas with reasonably aggressive mobs, or pretty far out of the way. Or the trees are super sparse. And we'll try to grab that other one. I think it's far enough out we won't aggro any of those vampires. Okay, that tree's on the other side. Oh, and there's another tool down. And then we'll go kind of circle around and work our way along the edge and then back down to that road. And so as you can see, there's plenty of trees out here. Um, if you're trying to skill up, or if you're actually just trying to get a bunch of boards so that you can run some texture, that composite butt joint spawns a bunch of texture blueprints or furniture blueprints. I think it's furniture blueprints, honestly, but maybe it does both. It. I remember it popping a bunch of rugs and stuff, and it popped the dolls and No, uh, the rugs and stuff on Toland for sure. I don't remember what I used to spawn the plushes on Cyrene. And so I leave a couple of the trees around the vampires just because it can be a pain to get to them. And they're so plentiful, there's no real reason to risk it. Like, by the time we come through here, it'll take us over an hour to get this area, or 45 minutes, 50 minutes. Then we could hit this area, which is worth another 45 minutes of harvesting. Then if we were still wanting to do it, there's some more up here for another 30 minutes or so worth of trees up there to harvest. And so by the time you're finishing up one set and get around through the other sets, that first set is likely respawning again already. And so if you're wanting to grind hardcore, you could just cycle through it probably all day. I think it gets a little tedious once you get into that second, third hour. And so I can't imagine on like hour 7, but to each their own in that regard for sure. I've done some crazy camps that people. Okay, so one time I camped an item in EverQuest for like 70 hours straight, in which you have to kill a placeholder like every 15 minutes or 20 minutes or something like that. And so maybe I just don't have it in me anymore to do those mega camps like that. And so that's why I likely do a lot of small pushes where we'll do a small hunt on this, a small hunt on that. And I don't know that we stop doing this once we hit that level 60 unlock. Just being honest there. Because it'll still backfill, and you don't want these to be you don't want 10,000 skill in one and 1,000 skill in something else. Even if the 1,000 contributes lower, it's nice to build that up and backfill. Oh, looks like we missed a couple there. We'll circle back and grab those real fast. We missed them or they respawned. Hard to say. Well, impossible to say at this point. Alright, I think this is the last one we missed, so we're gonna go ahead and kind of head a little eastward. Work around the edge here. See what we got left to harvest up in here. There we go. I think we're probably getting close to this next tool being broke. Yep. So yeah, pretty close to one every 10 minutes when the trees are dense enough and we don't lose a lot of time running around. And so we've got quite a list of skills since we've been here. To the point, I think that's all of them. I remember the zoology, double zoology right at the beginning. And so I'm just saying that's a lot of skill ups in a bunch of skills that are relatively not the easiest to skill up and or are worth a fair amount. Zoology and biology have been pretty valuable in the past, and while I imagine the markup has diminished, um, I don't know by how much. Before it was like almost 3,000% markup on some of those, on like zoology and whatnot. Oh, and there's a broken tool. All right, there's alertness. I don't know if I mentioned it, but that's also a looter skill. It's just really cheap, and so it's the one that's actually cheap to chip in if you want to boost your looter skill. It just doesn't go in again very much. Sub 5%, I think. I think we've gone over all the skills we're going to get today. We've got them all at this point. But again, these tools, 10 minutes a piece. Um, if you're using skill pills, especially if you're using 50%, 60, 70, or up to 100, right? The You're going to want the more repetitions or the most repetitions you can get per time. And we have a lot of those 1 hour 50% skill pills because every time that we deposit, we buy a ammo refill pack or a starter refill pack instead of the ammo packs, and they come with the $20 one comes with 5 skill pills. And I don't really use the skill pills a ton, and so they tend to stack up a little bit. I always try to use one when we're doing tree cutting though. No, I think the $5 starter refill pack was still comes with 1 skill pill. And so it's not like you got to spend a ton of money to get a skill pill. Since it comes with that amount of ammo anyway. So the $5 one I think comes with 50 pen ammo, and the $20 one comes with 200 pen ammo. The skill pills 1 and 5 respectively, and a bunch of those HDNAs that allow you to revive yourself. That those will just keep stacking up because I don't anticipate most people use those very often. Which is why you see people with stacks of like 800 of them. I'm really excited about the amount of zoology we got today. It's definitely one of our lagging skills, and I think it goes in like 5% instead of the 3% on some of the other ones. But I could be mistaken there. Don't quote me. Oh, well, that seems like quite a ways. I wonder why it targeted that one instead of these other two. Because I clicked on the wrong one, that's why. I think I want to go grab those ones before I get too far away. About halfway through that tool now. This is also a great way to boost your intelligence up. I don't know that intelligence affects much, like outside of the things that it goes into, right? Tool making and crafting and whatnot. I mean, I don't know that it really, the stat there does a whole lot otherwise. You know how like strength has carry capacity, stamina gives hit points. I guess all of the stats give hit points, um, but it's pretty pretty low. Like what 1 per 60 or 1 per 80 on intelligence. So you have to get your intelligence up pretty significant to even get a single hit point off of it. And we're getting kind of close on the carry capacity too. Only got about 20 pounds till it starts to slow us down a little bit. That's all right. We got a trick for that when that happens. The FLO tree cutter showed me one day. I don't know, he was really trying to show me, but I saw what he was doing and I stole it. The idea. He was using pit bulls because of the carry capacity, and he just loads them up, and when he gets overburdened, he just drops one and runs off. And since all the woods in the vehicles hold cargo capacity, it's not on you anymore. I'll show you what I'm talking about. So we're going to open the vehicle inventory here. We're going to drop the 50 kilograms of cargo capacity there. Let's find our next tree. Oh, right there. Then you see we're at 347, and now we're at 287. And if we wanted, we could just recall it. And this will place it in the planetary storage. We just have to remember to pick it up when we're done. Oh, and yep, we still got a bunch of trees to go. And so this is the reason I like this area. Tons of trees, densely packed, low mobs. Tons and tons of skill gains. Oh, that tool's broken. And so for sure we're getting into the fifth tool in during that skill pill period because we're on the fifth tool with 13 minutes to go. So 5-minute partial is probably what we typically get through out here since we can find enough trees to keep going um, on a pretty repetitive basis. I remember when we first started cutting trees, some of them were different colored, and so you would fly with your little slip near and just land and cut the ones that were off colored, which was only in some of the areas on Calypso. For whatever reason, some were off colored and some they blended perfectly. But there's always mobs around. And so the amount of skill you would get on a 1 hour skill pill just can't compare to Cyrene and Rocktopia. And I haven't even got to the good area on Rocktopia. They have a mega chain that there's a really big forest locked in the reward area, is my understanding. Like tons of level 3 trees, break a tool all the time. Although normally I'll find at least one ground spawn, and we haven't today. Well, one thing of stone or fruit or something typically out here. Well, that was a little further than I thought it was. Sorry, we're going to circle back and knock the rest of these trees out. Oh, no, the amount of profession we get on even a 6 tool run is only like 3% anymore. It's pretty low. Not on the looter. That's even on the resource gatherer. It's only 3-4%. The looter level, we're lucky to get one like a 0.01% shipped on it. It does shift though. Um, it's just again really slow. Oh, you might be right that I do come here sometimes just for the tree harvesting. Um, but that was before Cyrene put their uh, mega forests in. Now you got options. You don't have to come here to really get the best tree harvesting you can. You got a couple options. And again, it's nice to just kind of do it, one day a week while you're here on a planet, or every couple of weeks if you're on a planet extended, just to kind of backfill those skills a little bit. Now, the only skill on the animal looter profession that I found is extremely difficult to work up at this point is that xenobiology. And that's because you literally have to scan, and no one is ever selling that skill. And so, like, if you want it, you're going to have to go around for hours scanning monsters. And at that point, I highly recommend the skill pill just based on the time factor. Oh no, the scanning tools are pretty cheap. I think 12 head. And they last, I don't know, a while. Hour, 2 hours of like consistently scanning something. But you can't scan the same mob again and again. There's like a reset time on it. And I don't know how long it is. Um, I think you can for sure rescan a mob after about 5 minutes. What are we looking on this tool? We about broke this one already as well. And again, we're just using this tool because you have to have a level 3 tool to pull the long boards from the huge tree. Um, the level 3 tool will also pull the large boards, but there's a level 2 tool for the large trees as well that'll pull large ones. And they use a varying amount of pack per pull, right? The low one is 2 pack, and that level 3 tool I have is 10 pack. And I've actually never used the one designed for the large trees only. So I actually don't know, haven't looked it up or anything. And so I'm not real sure. Somewhere between 2 and 10, I would imagine. 5 or 6 seems like a good number. Good guess, anyway. I think what might be happening now, since these are so far out, spread out, is that we might have some respawns happening on the trees already. Definitely kind of looks like it. Oh, and that's that tool broken. On to the final tool that we brought out today. And we're starting to get full on weight again as well. Which we could do that same trick again with our slip near and then with our quad wing interceptor if we needed to. Alright, we're gonna stop the tree cutting here and we'll go back and we'll sell the stuff that we got and see roughly how much we lost. I'm expecting 90% returns, but again, if we wanted to keep going and had tools, we could hit this area and then move down into this area and then move up into, there's an area over here with vampires that has trees as well. But we'll go back to the revive, go claim that vehicle out of storage, pull the boards out of it, sell all that stuff. We're not trying to keep the boards to do a run on uh, furniture or anything. Outside of the long boards, we're going to keep those. We'll just tally those up. And it will kind of skew our numbers a little bit because we did use some decay off that level 3 tool. Let's go ahead and grab our vehicle out. There's the captive trader. We're just going to try and sell everything but that off. We want to keep those. So yeah, we were down about 85% or so. 85, 88%. And so that's not unheard of. Anyway, that's where we're going to go ahead and wrap up today's run on these trees. We got a ton of skills, and we're really able to backfill some of our looter profession a little bit, which always makes us super excited. I hope everyone is having an amazing day. Stay epic.